Hey guys, it's Deligracy here with another video. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to use the MoveObjects on cheat, which I've had a lot of comments asking for. So basically I just thought I would show you guys a few tips and tricks on how I have discovered to use the cheat in my own interiors, and hopefully you guys can learn a few things from this. But yeah, basically I've kind of made some of these, I guess they're kind of like IKEA rooms, demo rooms if you like, to kind of showcase a few different things. But for starters, to avoid any confusion, I'll just explain what the cheat is and what it does. So to access the cheat, you go Command-Shift-C if you're on a Mac like me, but if you're on a PC like probably most other people, it's Control-Shift-C. Then you type in MoveObjects as one word and then space and on. And what this cheat allows you to do is overlap and intersect objects. You can also bring outdoor objects inside, which is pretty cool as well. The only really limitation with this cheat is that it can be a little bit visually glitchy depending on what you overlap. As you can see here, this frame and flag from university life, it doesn't look quite right. It doesn't take a genius to realize that. So, I mean, it's not like constrained floor elevation where you put all this effort into building a house and then it goes like psycho and you're like, oh my god. It's really easy to use, and you can, because of that, you can be super duper creative. So anyway, let's just jump into it. But basically, one of the best things that you can do with this is use objects. How do I explain this? You use objects for different things than what their original use was intended for. So for example, this flag from university life, I can pop it over a window and I can use it as a curtain, which is pretty cool. With the cheat turned on. Another thing is this kind of shady thing from Island Paradise. I can intersect that with this bed and it kind of makes it a more fuller and fancier bed with kind of some extra formation work on it, I guess. Here's a curtain, you can kind of make it have more things hanging off it. It depends what you like, obviously, in your own aesthetic. But that can look quite nice, layering things along like this at the other end of the bed. Yeah, it's quite nice. But for myself, I'm going to leave the Island Paradise object on there. One of my other favorite things to do with this cheat is to layer paintings, particularly posters. It's really useful for on walls. You can see layering paintings here. I also love to put paintings to make paintings look like they're kind of leaning on the floor against the wall. That's one of my favorite things to do. If you've watched my other videos, you guys will definitely know that already. So yeah, if I just leave that like that for now, you can also make rooms look more lived in as well by kind of putting books under beds, or putting toys around the room if it's a child's room. I love this giraffe, by the way. I want that in real life. But you can also kind of get furniture and recreate that furniture. So here's just a base game couch, and this is like a footrest coffee table. And if you just hold down Alt, which means that the object won't snap to the grid, you can also rotate it on any angle you like, holding down Alt. We can kind of merge the two together to create what looks like an L-shaped couch. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But what I'm going to do in this is I'm going to put the couch here, and it kind of looks like it's part of the bed, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to put this to overlap the couch. So it kind of looks like there's a drawer in there where you could store things. And the reason why I've done that is so I can put these clothes on top of it and maybe these magazines there as well. So it just kind of looks more lived in, more realistic, and a normal couch in The Sims you can't actually put objects on. So that's just an example of that. But yeah, if we scoot across to the outdoor setting, which I've created, we've got to watch those objects overlapping there. Basically, another one of my favorite things to do is overlapping plants. through tables. So if I just pop this plant through there, you get a lovely kind of vase effect on top of the table. You can rotate it any way you like, and you can also get, say, this plant, which I believe is from the store. You can pop that in there as well, and it really heightens the plant and makes it look more voluptuous, which is very nice for your more affluent Sims, perhaps. Another thing is you can kind of use awkward objects that maybe they're not your desired height. For instance, this vase, I do get frustrated that I can't put it on top of tables. What I can use it for is to add more foliage to the area where the vase is. If I can just find another one of that. So where is it? This one, for example. We can add more floral things into the table there, floral accents, which is quite nice as well. This is another example of awkward heights. This floor lamp isn't really tall enough to be a floor lamp in many cases. And it obviously doesn't sit on top of tables. So what I like to do is kind of pop it through coffee tables like this, and it looks like little tea light candles, which is really cute, I think, in a couple of different colors. So yeah, that's definitely something you can do as well. Another thing is using kind of weird decorative objects. For instance, this bucket from the fast lane, which initially you're like, what am I going to use that for? You can be really creative, and we can actually put a plant in there, which is kind of cool. And it kind of gives this rustic, vintage look about it. Or if you like, we can use the eyedropper tool to copy that plant, and we can rotate it to create a star, like a star shape, I guess, which is cool. So yeah, and if you want to grab another one of those, it looks quite nice to put it next to the other one you've created, because it has less leaves in it, which is more realistic, because not all plants are exactly the same. And yeah, just the different shapes are really nice next to each other, I personally think. Yeah, that's another trick. I also really love these gothic tiny garden planter bowl things that came with Supernatural. The reason why is because you can put anything you want in there. So another good thing that I mentioned before is you can bring outdoor objects inside. So if we go into the gardening area, we can get, say, this plant here and layer it a few times to make it really nice and voluptuous, and we can pop maybe this plant on top again, and it actually creates a really lovely kind of potted garden plant here. I've also overlapped the gardening here to kind of make it look more realistic yet again, so it's great for landscaping too. Moving along and around, we'll move into the bathroom area that I've created for this. Basically, you can put mirrors behind sinks, which is a nice thing. Also, what I love to do, which isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I think it looks kind of funky and vintagey, is use a table underneath a sink. And if you just set it behind the lip of the sink here, your Sims can wash their hands and dishes and whatever, and it's fine, it's completely usable. But it kind of gives a really nice modern rustic look. Or if you want to go even more rustic, we can pop this one here as well, and it's kind of like a beautiful dresser spot with the chair here. Again, this is the flag that I used as a curtain before. We can pop it over here near this shelf, and it kind of looks like a towel that's just been hanging there because it matches the towel pattern on the towel rack. So I thought that was quite nice. Might look nice outside next to one of the wall surfboards in Isla Paradiso or whatever you like, really. And then, of course, last but not least, I've kind of set up this, I guess, loft apartment. You can kind of imagine this being in Bridgeport as a bit of a bachelor pad. But one thing that other people will realize from my videos is I often overlap coffee tables to make them bigger and more generous. So, for example, we'll use these ones here. Overlapping glass on glass will work best. It makes sure that there is no kind of visual glitching that I was talking about before, because then it can look a bit ugly. But this is quite good, and then you can pop a plant in the hole in the middle, and if that's not enough, you can put a little bit of a floral accent, or 2. And then if that's not enough, you can put a box there as well, and it kind of frames the area quite nicely. We can pop a few other objects on here to kind of give it that more rustic look and lived in look, like this. So that's pretty cool. Another thing is we can move the TV over one, and you can, using these shelves, this is a shelf from Into the Future, which I love. Such a good expansion pack, by the way. Great build objects. And anyway, we can kind of merge shelves like this, so it looks kind of cool. And you can also overlap shelves so they look more, I guess, elongated. Elongated is the word I'm looking for. And if I can rotate this, come on. It gets a little bit fiddly sometimes. There we go. And we hold down Alt again to make sure these two shelves meet in the middle quite nicely. Ugh. Just give me a second here to line them up. And there, perfect. Yeah, it's elongated the shelf. This random fire hydrant, which you kind of are like, I'm never gonna use that. You can actually make it look really vintagey and funky, like this person or this guy is kind of, whoever lives here, the sim, has picked it up off the street to kind of hold up that shelf there. Another thing is, if you want to put objects on the top of shelves, you can get a little bit creative and, you know, kind of put shelves on shelves, so that then that allows you to put objects such as this picture frame on top of there, which I think is pretty cool. Again, you can merge paintings behind objects, so it looks like a street sign's been stolen with the hydrant, which is pretty cool. And I love using these. These are kind of like wooden horses, whatever you want to call them. These are fantastic for creating coffee tables with shelves on top, or which I've done in one of my other videos. But this one looks quite nice, just slipped under this table there. So yeah, it's very rustic, kind of a masculine look, this entire apartment. Bit of industrial piece, a few industrial pieces there as well. So hopefully you guys have gained a little bit from this. As I said, this is just the way that I've discovered to use the cheat. It might not be your taste. I can be a very mismatched person in my Sims interiors. Some of you know, but anyway, hope that's helpful, and I'll have another video up soon. Bye!